Good friggin' morning from New England, folks, and welcome back to episode 31 of the So New England podcast. I am your host, Ian Brownhill, joined by my co-host and best friend, RJ Travisano. And all things life's better in New England, Vinny G.
Forget about it, cuz.
Folks, we have a wonderful guest with us today.
Yay.
And we're just going to keep this flowing the way it is. So, RJ, please tell us who we have today.
Welcome all, and thank you as always for tuning in. We hope you enjoy, and as always, let's get it started. Episode 31 is here, and we will deem this episode New England's next top model because our guest has graced us with her beauty and elegance as she is Miss Greater Hooksett 2025. But shh, don't tell Ian. He doesn't like when somebody is prettier than him. How he has been my bestie for 20 plus years, I still don't know.
Wow.
Any users from the great state of New Hampshire, chance! Whether you heard her voice slanging hits on the radio or maybe seen her on your favorite episode of Dirty Water or Let's Meet Boston, making sure our beloved New England gets the hype it deserves. But don't let all that fool you. She is an absolute go-getter with her hands in everything New England related. So without further ado, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Miss Greater Hooksett 2025, soon to be Miss New Hampshire, Miss Sophie Sargent!
Wow.
I had 4 Reese's sticks on the way here, so.
Thank you for that intro. That was wild. In the best way.
I got you.
And we're manifesting Miss New Hampshire, which we love.
That's what
that.
I was going with, why I left it at the end, because then it's like, we're talking about it. We're being about it. So.
All of it. All of it. I love it.
Well, welcome on, Sophie. I appreciate you coming and hanging with us tonight, making the drive down. Now, we first met on the set of I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Yes.
Yes, the Whitney Houston biopic that shot in Boston. I was doing background work. I actually brought this up last episode. But
funny.
Yeah, so small world. But that's how you and I met. We got connected. Been following your journey ever since, which has been nothing but inspirational.
Oh, thank
and I'm
you.
wicked happy for you because I know when we first met, I was like, oh, what can I help you with? I'll give you the names of these people at casting companies. What can I do? So, yeah, really cool. So thank you for being here. Now, tell us. I want to know, tell us what the journey has been like. Tell us about your upbringing in New England and how you got to where you are today.
I was in college and I was actually majoring in Homeland Security, and I did graduate with a degree in Homeland Security. So I have the degree and everyone's like, why'd you do it? Because it's a nice thing to fall back on, I guess. But I, through the middle of COVID, took the opportunity to branch out because everybody was indoors. There was no excuse to reply to a DM or an email. So I was just emailing people left and right saying, local magazines, news outlets saying, how can I get involved right now? I know we're in a pandemic, but I really want to get into media. I'll give my time, my effort, my motivation. Long story short, that led me to Dirty Water on Nesson. They were like, we will take you. We know that you have zero experience, but we'll train you and we'll just let you be yourself and you'll find your way through broadcasting. And Dirty Water is like a lifestyle show where we go around New England and see all of restaurants, nightlife, all of that. And it's a really, really fun show and a really great, I guess, entrance into TV. So I would recommend it. If anybody's listening, I would recommend doing Dirty Water if you can, because it's a great time. And then after that kind of led me into radio because the fun nature of the show was like, oh, I want that every day, and it's hard to find that in news. So I went to radio. I worked my butt off, researched demos, how to do it. I met people who could help me, and I sent, thank goodness for Brandon Clay, who works on the Bull in Boston, because he was listening to my demos every week. I was sending them to him, and eventually it landed me a job on the morning show, which I know you asked me about my upbringing. The morning show that I'm on now was one that I listened to every morning driving to school with my parents.
That's so cool.
Which is so wild. The station is 95.7, and it's in Manchester. And we actually do reach into Boston too. Technically, we're not a part of the Boston market, but I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, growing up in New England, back to the original question.
No, go for
I'm
it.
off on a tangent now
No,
already.
I love that. Take it for a ride.
Seriously. But I mean, it was good. I feel like I always felt like I needed to be out of New Hampshire, especially once I got into the entertainment world. I started musical theater when I was younger. Before that, I was doing sports. I got my black belt at 12, which was kind of wild. It was like a 6-year journey.
Okay.
I told you.
Look at that.
Oh yeah, it was a fun time. But after that, I had this calling when I was younger to be on camera and do all of those fun things that came with that. So that's kind of what brought me into theater. And then in high school, that's when like I pressed the gas because I wanted to get with an agency and I thought that was going to be my ticket into all of this. So that's when I started submitting and applying. And my mom said, when you're 18 and you can drive yourself to things and you can go to castings alone, that's when you can work in entertainment. So that was where it kind of started. But I just remember always watching Disney Channel when I was younger and being like, this is what I need to do, whether it's now, whether it's later. And I mean, I think last year or 2 years ago was my first callback for a Disney show, which I didn't land the Disney show, but the fact that I was in that room, I was like, my little me would be so happy about that, that it felt like a win. So I always kind of felt like I needed to be interacting with people in front of the camera. And also it's just fun to make people laugh and bring them joy in ways that are easy and accessible and kind of take you away from the craziness of everyday life. So that's a little bit about growing up in New England. I mean, I spent some summers on Lake Winnipesaukee, you know, in New Hampshire. I'd come to Boston as a kid and see the city and be like, oh my gosh, I need to come back all the time. And, you know, because you're young and want to be in Boston. But yeah, it's been really, really cool to be in this area and take advantage of our awesome media market. Yeah. You know, and I didn't realize the importance of that until I got older, I think. I always thought it was elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, you know? Now you know.
Right?
What a wonderful story. I love hearing all that.
Cool. I love that.
I did not know the Homeland Security thing, though.
Isn't that crazy?
And now that I'm looking at you, I'm like, that is the role for you. Is you need to be in like a suit, like, what is it? What's the famous NCU? What's the?
NCIS.
NCIS.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can see like a Boston version of that where it's like a Homeland Security and you're like.
NCIS Boston.
I can see.
You can't park your car there.
Yeah, you're jumping out of the SUV.
It's craziness.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, all right, tell me what's going on with this crime scene.
Where are you guys? We're
That's not
stuck in
Homeland Security,
traffic. We're on the Boston Turnpike.
There you go.
That's exactly how the episodes go every time.
Did you just do a Boston accent?
I tried the first time.
Do it again.
I can't.
Do it again.
I can't.
Come on.
I can't.
It'll come out again. It's just when you don't expect it.
I know,
so
you
just
put me on the
keep your
spot. You know how I am. I'm not
skilled.
like you guys. I just can't.
I'm trying to think. So it's 95.6 that you're on?
95.7.
95.7.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
How did I move by one number? Okay.
They're all so close, and I'm on 3 stations, so it gets a little dicey when you're thinking of the numbers and all that.
So it's 3 different stations. How does that work?
So I do mornings, middays, and nights.
Wow.
That
what
is
a hustler.
What we call radio magic.
You know how do you have the time?
I stay busy, and there are ways to make it work, and that's just kind of, you know, the way it is in radio. I mean, people do things differently now. Sometimes shows are pre-recorded or syndicated, or some of them are live. The morning show I do is live, which is really cool. It's fun to take callers, and it's fun to hear from people, because you know what? I think, and you guys probably experience this too. You sit here and you have a conversation with people, and it's the same on the radio, but then you forget that people are listening because it's so natural to have the conversation. So it's fun to hear what other people have to say.
How does the call-in process work for radio stations?
Yeah, so I think it's different depending on the market. If you look at EEI, they probably have 1 or 2 producers, or somebody who's a call screener who will listen to what people have to say. They'll be like, hey, what are you calling about? And they'll say, oh, I want to talk about this and this. And they're like, okay, hold. And then they'll like put you on. But we are lucky where we're in a smaller market, but have a lot of callers. And usually they're kind of the same type of caller. Oftentimes we'll answer some live, but we'll answer some when we're not live, mainly because, you know, people call all throughout the morning and we can only take so many live, but we'll play them regardless. So I think for us, it's more about just like getting those calls that are relevant. And usually they are. We're pretty lucky. There's been a few times where we've had some people that have been questionable. Luckily, they haven't been when we were live, so it like worked out. But I think it depends on the resources you have at the station and just the market that you're in, I guess.
Cool.
So we've had pretty positive callers.
Okay.
I mean, it's New Hampshire. I don't think people are going to call and do anything crazy. We're pretty chill, you know. I don't know.
So when you started doing the radio stuff, I am curious, do you have a radio voice?
So I actually really love that you asked this, because I think a lot of people do, and I catch myself doing it a little bit, But when I'm on in the mornings, I like being like this. I like being conversational because I don't like being fake. And I think that our world now reads better to genuine people, not like the, hey, it's me in the morning and whatever the voice is going to be. That was horrible. But like the fake old radio voices, they don't work anymore. Like you have to be personable. And I think if I were to put something on, I elevate my voice a little bit, but you're going to get the same person, maybe minus like a few swear words and something like that, but you're going to get the same person on the air. And I think a lot of people don't do that. They're somebody else on the air still.
Right.
And so that's why there's like a disconnect when people meet radio people in person. And it's almost awkward because you like expect them to be
That's
this
what I was gonna
like
ask you next.
huge personality and whatever. And it's like, if you meet me in person, you're getting the same me. I have a little more attitude maybe on the show because I'm like the young voice, but I try to be as normal and real as possible because I just think it's more, people are going to listen. They want to hear the real, and they can tell when you're not being real.
If there was one thing that you could give advice on for anyone that might want to pursue this as a career, I'm curious because we kind of asked Jenna the same question, her being on radio as well. So I'm curious to see like what your feedback or guidance would be because you have two like very different paths.
Right.
It's like Jenna's, I think I'm getting this correct and hopefully it's no disrespect to her, but she was like, I'm going to be somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I'm flying at it and whatever catches me, I'm going for. Whereas it seemed like you were like, you knew what you were going for from the jump. Yeah. So I'm curious what that work ethic, what that thought process, and what advice you'd give to younger you or people who might be inspired to want to do the same.
It's hard because I think if you're similar to me, you want everything and more. Like you want to be so awesome at everything you do, but you have to take it step by step. And I think the mindset is more like you'll do anything to be better kind of thing. You will put in all of that work to get better. And that's probably my advice because you have to want it, especially in radio. We live in a world where we don't really know what's going to happen with radio. Like we kind of think it's always going to be there, but like with technology, who actually knows what's going to happen?
Right.
So, and I don't know what's going to happen. And AI, it's touchy, but like, I think about, where I was when I tried to get into radio. And I just remember, I mean, you can't really, if you take no for an answer, it's a redirection. So it's not really taking a no, but it's also just getting those reps in and proving to people that yes, you not only have potential, but like you're able to learn and you're able to adapt. And the thing about radio is people are so linear with radio. It's always been this way. People are comfortable in it because it's been like this, where I think it's changing just because it's not as popular. So you have to be able to just accept how radio was. And if you're, up and coming, bring your, I don't know, Gen Z or younger or whatever voice, and that'll help. But you kind of have to find that balance of like, all right, this is how it is. But like, I'm going to bring my pizzazz and don't let people like take that down because radio's always been one way forever. That's been a huge issue for me is like because I feel like the majority of the time I've been trying to prove to people that I'm good when I don't think it should necessarily be that way. Like I think that to be on the radio, you kind of have the personality for it. So why should I have to sit here and like be like, oh, I can talk about this in a break? And it's like, I don't know. It's more about just keep going, take the criticism, find somebody who's going to help you. But also like if somebody gives you a no, it's a redirection and just take that and go somewhere else. Like I always tell people as a general, I guess, piece of advice is rejection is redirection. So if something's not working, there's probably something better for you. And just like follow what feels right. Like you're going to know when you get into a room if somebody's giving you crap. My first radio interview, I remember the boss or whoever, the guy at the company who was interviewing me, just seemed like he wanted to push all of my buttons. And that was really, really frustrating. And I think that, that might happen in any industry, but I'm a young girl with no experience at the time. And I think that they were just trying to see how much I really wanted it. And if you really want it, it's going to show. So
that's cool.
I like that. Really good advice.
Yeah. That's very nice.
What does your support system look like when you were pursuing this? Like, has your family always been like on board and wanted this for you? Was that like kind of a hard obstacle to, because I don't know what your situation was, but what does that look like for you?
So I think it was a bit of maybe hesitancy from my family, especially going down the Homeland Security path. But I think they kind of knew I wasn't going to do it, especially once I started on Nessun. They were like, oh no, we lost her. And I mean, they were outwardly supportive, but I know my family. I think deep down they were like, what are you doing? Because I was pursuing a degree in Homeland Security. So it wasn't even remotely close to what I was, getting my degree on. And my family is very, at least my parents, they didn't have like the opportunity to go to college, or they did and they didn't finish. And so I think that they really tried to stress on me, go to college, get the job, bada, which technically I did do, but it wasn't the way that they envisioned it. So I know it was a little tough. But like emotionally they were supportive. And I think once they saw I was doing things, like actually saying, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, and then I did it, that was when they were like, all right, we can't stop her. Like she's got this. She's making it happen. So like, what are we going to do? And I was making money. So at the end of the day, I think they're just happy about that. And they do want me to be happy. But when I'm, 16, 17, or even in college saying, I want to model, I want to be on TV. I mean, every kid probably says that. Right. So I think that they, had to adapt to that and actually see that the actions I was taking were serious and that they were going to get me in the places that I really wanted to be, basically. And has that shifted now that you've been met with so much success and you are not only doing it, but now you're starting to pave ways for women who are younger than you? Yeah. You're on a podcast, you're giving information. Like, what is that kind of shifted now? I think so. I think I could tell my parents that I could solve world peace and they would be like, you got this. Because they just expect that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do now. Right. And that's brought me in crazy directions too. And I just think at this point, I'm kind of like, I'm the oldest. So I definitely feel like a lot of this has been in a way to prove to my siblings that they can do kind of what they want to do too. Oh, I love that. And also just, I think younger kids and younger girls and guys, I think will take what I've done and learn that, because I grew up in a small town in New Hampshire. I mean, and not a lot of people go out and do a lot of fun things. I mean, granted, we do have Adam Sandler in Manchester, but that's technically not my town. So I got a rep for Bedford, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I don't want my siblings to ever kind of feel like I did, in the sense that like my circumstances were never bad. I'll be clear. Like, always supportive family, great upbringing. But I think that there was an independence that I got from wanting everything so badly and not having people who were like, no, we'll drive you to the casting, or we'll take you to New York to go to a photo shoot. Like, those are all things I had to want to do. So I think that my siblings being able to look at that and be like, oh, she can do it. It opens those doors where I didn't really have that opportunity when I was younger, because I'm the oldest sibling. Right. So I hope that, like, because I'm so closely, like, I have a great relationship with them, that they can take that and actually do it. And I remember having a conversation with my sister recently, and I was like, because I don't like to talk about, I guess, the emotional side of it, if that makes sense. Maybe I was like, what do you actually think of this, what I'm doing? Like, do you think it's crazy, or do you think it's like reasonable? And I also said, how does it make you feel that I do this? Because to be fair, I put them on blast. Like, they go to school and they're like, oh, your sister is on the radio and your sister's on TV, and they have to hear all the crap end of it. Right. My brother's been teased on end for everything that I've done. Oh yeah, poor kid. But it's like, guys, we're the worst. It's like, especially teenage guys, but yeah, whatever. They'll live and learn and grow up. And I just we won't. Sorry, they won't. Growing up never happens. That's me being. We just get beards. That's all. But growing up never happens. Dead. But I think that, like, so my sister ended up saying to me when I asked her that, she was like, "No, now I feel like I can do anything." And in that like moment, I almost was like, I don't actually need to do anything else in my life anymore. Yeah. Like, I feel like I checked the box. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a powerful thing to hear. Yeah, and that's like what I needed, you know? Yeah. Because sometimes I do question, I'm like, what am I doing all this for? Yeah. Like, of course. And that usually means you're on the right path. That is true.
From the time that we met to where we are now, the person that was sitting next to me that day, if you told her everything you're doing right now, would you say that you're still just trying to figure it out? Or would you say, wow, I've accomplished a lot? Like I have made it. Because you just said that. You're like, well, I'm kind of there. You're doing it. It might not be the standard that you're hoping for, but also you reached a platform that you didn't think you were going to get to. And now, of course, your eyes are going to be on the bigger platform. And that's always going to happen. But I want to make sure that you know that you really have accomplished a lot, because as we're already probably 25 minutes into this episode, and we still have another 4 categories of things that you're doing on the regular that we haven't even gotten to. So
haven't even scratched the
round
surface.
of applause for you. Real
thank
quick.
you. Yeah, I mean it's
Plus,
definitely
being the
huge.
town gossip is like, come on.
Yeah, for real.
Well, and that's not true.
That's hot.
That's not me like trying to toot my own horn. I just genuinely think there's probably nothing else happening, and my siblings are still in the school system.
Yeah,
so like
no,
obviously,
I think it's great.
but like, I don't know. I think 2021 me would probably be stoked
Exactly.
to know what I'm doing. And
2021 you. By the way, just so you know, we auditioned for Disney.
Is crazy.
And we're on a bunch of local commercials, and we're modeling, and we're acting regularly. Oh, and
Yeah.
you know the radio station you're listening to on the car ride home today? You'll be a host of that in 3 years. I mean,
it's
that's pretty
crazy.
damn cool.
It's so crazy. And
I just like to make sure that all my friends know how badass they are. That's all.
Oh, well, thank you. I try to put that into perspective for myself, because I think the downside of having my personality is that I'm very hard on myself. And recently in the last year, I've tried to lighten up, because life shouldn't be so serious.
Yeah.
But I tend to be really hard on myself. So those reminders, I try to write them down or post them somewhere. Or if I'm at yoga, I try to meditate about it, because I think that's the only time that I'm actually able to recognize it. Only think about that and be grateful for it, because it gets lost in the hustle, as you know.
What is it? Regular yoga or hot yoga?
Hot yoga all the way.
We should do hot yoga together.
I'm down.
I just feel like
I clearly need it.
I mean, literally, both of us get up and have our seats. We're both like, you got them tight calves.
Oh, they're
Jeez, those things.
My calves are really tight too, and
Really?
I do yoga.
Let's start talking about your pageant experience.
Sure. Okay, so whoa. I feel like there have been girls who've been trying to recruit me into pageants for so long, and I've always been like, no, I'm not going to be the pageant girl.
Wait, that's how it works? You get recruited?
Kind of.
Why hasn't anyone recruited me for a pageant, damn it?
You could definitely get
sexy
recruited.
book talk. Let's do
I want to be in a pageant.
Oh, not sexy book
We are going
talk.
to skip over that. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But
Please put one of his books right there and don't skip it.
everyone's seen the books, I think, at this point. But anyway, I think that you don't have to be recruited, but it's nice to know girls that do it, because you get the real side of it. And there was this girl I went to high school with who's now Miss New Hampshire. She's been working at it for years. And she was like, you need to be doing this, because what you do is really fun and you would have a good shot at winning. I was like, I don't know. I don't think I have time for this. I would want to give it my all and be awesome at it. So I'm like, I don't think so. Fast forward, I ended up meeting the last year's Miss New Hampshire when I was working on the radio. And I think it was just kind of right place, right time. She was like, again, you need to be doing this. And I was like, all right, I can pay off my student loans. Like, it could be fun. We'll see what happens. It could open up my network, and it could push me in a way that I won't push myself probably without forcing myself into a new experience. So essentially you have to do, under the Miss America umbrella, you have to do a local first.
Okay.
So I competed at a local, my first one. I got first runner up. I lost because of my dress.
Ooh, what does that mean?
I hate when that happens.
Isn't that like the dumbest reason to lose though?
Yeah, but like they told you, like, we just don't like your dress?
I heard later through the grapevine that my dress made me look too young. So I said, okay, weird, but fine. You know what?
What the heck?
Fine. So I lost out on $25,000 there. Kind of a bummer.
Oh.
But that local...
You need to get your ass in some pageants.
It's
You could
so
be making
worth
us
it.
$25,000.
Yeah, that was my next question. Like,
We'll put you in one of those Skims dresses
I need, what are they, Spanx? They
from Kim
suck
K.
everything in?
Yeah.
Sure.
Spanx and Kim K's.
Tape
You'll be
all the way
snatched.
around.
You look great. That'll be amazing.
Bald kings, baby.
No,
Just
we're
a
gonna
bunch
put a
of
wig on.
bald men. Oh,
We're gonna
All
do
right.
that one where they glue it on top
can
of your
do
head.
that.
I send you the TikToks of.
Beautiful.
stop sending me
Sounds like
those.
you guys got it figured out.
Yep.
No biggie.
Dumb and Dumber.
Dad.
Sometimes I hate to love you.
Honestly, the only thing I know about this stuff is Miss Congeniality. No, not Miss Congeniality. Yes,
Which I did win.
with Sandra Bullock.
Oh, not the movie
Sandra-
though.
Oh, that's an actual thing?
That's a real award.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought it
Yeah.
was just and Rhode Island was like, not April because it's perfect breeze, right? You know the question? It's like a famous quote. Shh. Okay. We're getting there.
We're figuring it out. So after that local, I did a second local. I won Miss Greater Hooksett.
Okay.
And so that's what qualifies you to go to Miss New Hampshire. So now I compete in May for that, which is a whole thing. It is a whole thing. I didn't know what was going to go into it. I kind of went into this blindly, knowing I'd have to put in work, but not like, didn't know how much work. It has been my entire life. It's been consuming pretty much like every single day.
Yes.
Because I want to win.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can you just for purposes of this, because we've talked about this because we have tons of content creators, and we always joke about the fact that content creation is a full-time job. Yes, you only see the 20, 30, 40-second clip, but you don't know what actually goes into that, especially for someone, especially lately, someone's been posting 3, 4, 5 times a day. Can you kind of go at it as like what it is actually you're doing, so people understand that it's not like I go to the gym for an hour and then I walk on stage. That's not it.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be like a thing. I don't know.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
I told you the Reese sticks are firing right now.
Dang.
Please, because I think
Sugar
it's
high.
super important.
Tell us what you do.
I think it's super important to go into detail about that so people understand that it's not just like a couple hours here
Sunshine
and there.
and rainbows.
Sure.
Right.
It's a lot of hard work.
Please.
It is. So let's go through a day in my life.
Let's do
shall we? And this is like obviously not counting work, or we'll throw work in, I guess. So I wake up at 4 a.m. because I go to the morning show.
Oh my God.
Yep.
What time do you go to bed?
Like 9-ish, 9:30. Don't even look at the time because there are some nights that I don't go to bed.
We're gonna
My
keep
phone's
you
dead.
past
My
your
phone's
bedtime.
dead.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I'll wake up at 4. Whenever I go to bed, doesn't really matter because I can always go back to sleep another time. Then I go do the morning show, and at the morning show, I will have black coffee because I don't want the sugar, or I'll put like a dash of cream in, and then I'll have chicken and vegetables for breakfast, because that's what doesn't hurt my gut, basically.
Yeah.
And make me inflamed. I mean, coffee makes me a little inflamed, but I need to like basically work on my figure. You know what I mean? And then after I leave work, I'll probably go to the gym, or I'll go do something else like a commercial or whatever of my 6 jobs that I have that day or nothing. But and then I'll run my errands. And then I'll sit down for like 30 minutes to an hour, maybe more some days. And I'll go through like my to-do list of tasks. So that could be paperwork, like writing out what I'm going to do in the community for my community service. That could be looking for a dress, which is more fun than writing the paperwork. I'd rather show those things than write it down on a piece of paper.
Right.
Or like applying for another scholarship to get more money. Or, you know, the other day I was practicing walking on a stage for like 2 hours, and that is a mental game. Practicing your walking, that made me exhausted. You would have no idea. But so usually I'll take some time, a good chunk or some chunk of my day, depending on my availability, to just do those things. Like today I had to work on, I'm trying to do an event for my community service initiative, which is something you have to do under the Miss America belt, is advocating for chronic illness, because I have Lyme disease and my entire family does, which is like another topic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm working on planning an event in Boston. So like that's part of my community service. And then sometimes I go to the gym again after that. So sometimes it'll be 2 gym days or sauna or whatever. And then I eat probably more chicken and broccoli. And then I go to bed. I'll throw like a matcha in there or a coffee. And then usually like after my workout, I'll try to get a few more things done. And that's like my day. But it's usually like 4 a.m. to like 9 p.m. kind of day.
Dang.
Sometimes. And I don't nap. I refuse to nap because I feel worse.
Oh, bless your heart.
I don't nap either.
I
can't.
I will accidentally fall asleep in the middle of the day, but like I won't intentionally nap.
Yeah, I can't.
Me and the money way too attached to go and do that.
Are you a napper?
No, so
Drizzy.
well,
You heard that?
It depends on the day, because like
Thank you.
I also spend a lot of time meal prepping. Like that does take a good chunk of time, and it's the biggest pain. But hey, I'm hitting my goals, and that's what's important. So
And do you have a coach?
I don't. So I have a director who is like my local, kind of like my local leader, we'll call them. And they help me through like the paperwork process, and I'll like bounce ideas off of them and questions. And they've helped me a lot with like the logistical things. But I think what's really cool about my experience is that most girls who compete in Miss New Hampshire are still in college, or they're in their last couple years of high school. Whereas if you look at me, I graduated in May of 2023 from UNH, and thank you. Very
Homeland
subtle flex.
Security, here we
Homeland
come.
Security.
Taking over the world.
No big deal. And from that, like, I can't imagine trying to run for Miss New Hampshire at 18.
Yeah.
Because I've had a whole nother life since college, it feels like. So
Right.
it's just, I think that experience is going to throw a little bit of I don't know the saying, but a little chaos in the comfortability of many of the girls, because they kind of know what to expect until like someone new comes in. And so I'll definitely bring some new perspectives into what Miss New Hampshire can be. And hopefully that will
There's a
happen
word
in
for
May.
that. You're a trailblazer.
Ooh.
That's the word for that, baby.
That's right.
Gang. Hit me with a button or something. This guy's sleeping. All the buttons.
Unbelievable.
One job.
It's crazy, dog.
No, but that, okay, so because I'm the only reason why I asked about that too is just
Yeah.
because you're like going on stage, you're working on your routine. So like I'm wondering if there's someone that can help guide you so
Yeah.
that, you don't have another, we didn't like your dress incident.
And to be honest, when you go into a local, you're either like kind of expected to know how a local works, or you just go into it blindly. It's
Gotcha.
a really big learning time, I guess. And I think it's actually good that they have locals. There are different organizations that do it differently, but I like the local because you can trial and error. So you can still win and be like kind of a weak candidate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then when you win, you're like, okay, yeah, that wasn't great, but like this is what I did wrong, and this is what I can do, and this is how Miss New Hampshire would be. So this is the step. These are the steps I can take to compete and be ready for that. And I just hope that when the judges see me, they instantly see me as a leader, and they see me as a potential Miss New Hampshire, because I think a lot of people, they think that they're going to step into that role and they're going to be trained for it when they do it. When in reality, you got to be ready, or you got to think that you're ready, or pretend that you're ready, because nobody's really going to help you. It's more of like you have someone who's helping you book your events, and you have somebody who's, helping you with fundraising and community service and like those things, but nobody's actually going to mentally, physically, and maybe, dare I say, emotionally help you be in the spotlight for a full year and then be on the Miss America stage. Like, you have to have that in you.
I was going to say, that was going to be my next question. So say for example, when the time comes, you win Miss New Hampshire.
Yes.
How does, because it is technically like a job. Because you have to do stuff. Because it's not like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm totally ignorant to this because I have no idea why. This is why I'm asking. You don't just walk around for the next year like, I'm Miss New Hampshire, I do whatever I want.
So some organizations do it like that.
Oh, okay.
Because there's just different, I guess, values, I would say. Every organization values different things. Miss America values you as a person, and they value what you do for people around you in your community. And I know the organization has changed a lot in the years, so that's my understanding of it. But I think there are some things that you absolutely have to do, but at the end of the day, that's why I kind of said you have to be ready to step into the role, because it is what you make of it. In other states, yeah, it's a full-time job, because they're like in the South, it's pageant crazy world down there.
I can only imagine, yeah.
But New Hampshire, it's so different.
Thinking. Yeah, I was thinking, because I feel like when they're down there, they're going to events, they're doing shows, they're on this, they're on that. I mean, you're doing that in your own aspect, but I just, for my own purposes, but everybody listen to.
No,
well, and I think that's why New Hampshire loses in Miss America, because girls sometimes go into it blindly and think that they're going to get all this help, and then they kind of don't. So you have to be strong enough and willing enough, motivated enough, all of these other things to kind of spearhead that yourself. And because you're not given those resources that maybe like Miss Texas might have, because it's such a big state. Like some people get like an apartment for the year.
Right. So do you guys rely on like donations and
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to help you and donate you, how could they do that?
Yeah. So if you want to help me in particular, I have links in my Instagram for all of the fundraisers I've been doing. We raise money for American Heart Association. That's like our generic fundraiser for every contestant. And then I'm also raising money for chronic illness resources, because that's my community service initiative. Epic Together, I've been working with. They're an organization that gives direct resources to people who are lost and have an illness and they're sick and they're like, I don't know where to go or what to do. And I'm also, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I'm working on this event called Chronic Con, where it's like an event where you can go and talk to doctors, and it's kind of like a VidCon, but like for chronic illness, if you will.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we're working on bringing that to Boston. There's some in New York and LA, and we're gonna bring that here.
What a great initiative.
It'll be fun. Yeah. It'll
Do you
be
want
really
to talk
fun.
about the Lyme disease stuff at all, or?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, so how does your whole family have it? How does that work?
So if I look at like my family, I was having like chest pains. I thought I was like gonna like have a heart something or other. But like my brother had some mental health issues. My sister had digestive issues. My mom had similar issues to me. But we took this really comprehensive test that actually will test you for like 200 tick-borne illnesses other than Lyme, because there's so many.
Wow.
And the generic test will test you for like 2 or 3 of the most common. So like, that's why when you get bit by a tick, you know, it's like fresh in you and whatever. I mean, granted, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not like spitting facts here.
Not
but like,
yet. I'm sure you probably will at some point.
I mean, might add
you do everything else. Might as well come with
might add it to the resume at some point. But it doesn't always come up properly in the generic test, because my mom had that issue.
But so then it got passed down to you? Is that how that works? Like if you have, like your parents had it and then they passed it to you?
The research
or did you guys all
is wild. There's not enough of it, I think, from my understanding.
Like, wow.
We think that that's probably what happened, is my mom got it and we all just ended up with it. But I don't think that there's like enough research to officially say that that's like fact.
But this is a huge thing. I'm surprised there isn't enough research on it, which is, again, a testament to the initiative that you have right now, because again, I think, and you know, not that it's a bad thing, because the American Heart Association is very big, but it's like, that's the generic thing. But now there are such, you know, things like Lyme disease that are getting a lot more attention, and people are in need of resources and information to try and figure out how they can live a full, healthy life. I mean, I've known a few people. I did not know Vin had Lyme disease.
What is your problem?
I did not know that. So
what is your problem?
Just learned that.
Well,
shows you what kind of friend I am.
But that's the thing, though, and that's what's so important. Also, your comment about the American Heart Association.
Yeah,
I mean, it is important because it's the leading heart health is the leading cause of death in women. But
in women, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Which is wild, and so it is definitely an important organization. But I think one thing that we miss is the root of that issue.
Right.
Like, yeah, we can address. Oh, that person probably passed of a heart attack or a heart related issue or whatever, fill in the blank. But how did that issue come to be? And that's like where nobody is,
I love that.
Nobody's touching it. Nobody's doing anything with it because there are bigger powers at play. And I'm okay with saying it like that, but I won't go into it any deeper because I know that it'll get me in trouble.
Yeah.
But there are bigger powers at play that don't want us to get to those root causes. And that's what bothers me. And so I just hope that like, through whatever I can do and whatever my family can do, because at this point we're all pretty much advocates for all of this madness, that we can do, even if it's scratching the surface, bare minimum, that we can just help other people in our situation. Because when my mom took the generic test and she was like, oh, I think something's wrong, but like I'm not getting anything for Lyme. And then she took the big test and was like, oh, I have like 4 tick-borne illnesses. That's an issue.
Yeah.
Like, just for people to even know that that's an option, I want people to be able to take that initiative themselves. And also, if you have an issue, be able to stand up for yourself. Like, that's really important. And a lot of people will listen to any doctor or anybody and be like, oh, okay, you know what? Or just talk themselves out of it. Maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe I'm the problem. I'm overthinking it. I had too much coffee today. That's why my chest hurts. I'm just having an anxiety attack. But like, just to be able to advocate for yourself and say, no, like something's wrong and I need to figure this out is the first step. And whatever I can do after, or, you know, whatever we can build after, I think is really important.
No, I think you said that that was wonderfully said.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Miss New Hampshire, ladies and gentlemen, right here.
I have never been so excited to watch these things.
I'm just really going to clap.
I can't wait.
I did not know that about women, though. I genuinely didn't. And, you know, just to quickly abbreviate here, I do have a heart condition and I got diagnosed and it was kind of dismissive. I kind of pushed the needle and pried a little bit more, got a diagnosis on it, and I'm okay. And now the things that when I was speaking with my doctor, I said, look, this is when it happens the most. They said that's not physically possible. I treated the thing that says for me was acid reflux. I said, every time I'm having horrible acid reflux, my heart palpitations escalate. They said, that's not possible. I eat at Tums every day. I haven't had a heart palpitation in like 3 months when I was having them regularly. Wow. So stress, anxiety, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Of course.
And I know.
Thank you, Tums.
Thank you, Tums.
Shout out to Tums. Shout out. Also, I don't know the side effects of eating a Tums every day, but
I don't either.
We'll get there when I find out that my stomach has turned into pure acid and has holes in it. But
it's just
I'll worry
so
about
crazy.
that when I'm 65.
All right. And when you're like, it doesn't matter now at this point, does it?
Exactly.
But it's really crazy. And there's so much to talk about in the health world. And so it's only scratching the surface. But again, I just hope that's something that I can do through this program. And let me also be clear, you don't have to have a platform to do this. I think a lot of girls do all this good because they're trying, again, to work towards this goal of like being Miss New Hampshire. But like, I want to do this regardless of if I'm a title holder or not. Like, I want to be able to be a leader in that aspect. And, being in media, I think I'm lucky enough. I don't know who graced me with that opportunity, but I think I'm lucky enough
You
to
did.
like.
I was gonna say, someone get a mirror.
I guess so.
You didn't take no for an answer, so it's your own fault.
And you know what? I'm okay with that. Pick and choose your battles, I guess. But yeah.
All right, let's pivot and move on to a little bit about Meet Boston. How did that start? Because that's part of Nesson.
Yes.
So Dirty Water Media opened up the door for you there?
Yeah, in a way. It's funny because the Meet Boston people, I still haven't asked them, but they reached out to me on Instagram. They found me on social. So I don't know where in the internet world they found me. Maybe it was through Dirty Water, but I think the difference from Dirty Water is that they're like an independent show that just like broadcasts on Nesson versus this is like an in-house Nesson show. So where they found me, probably some hashtag or algorithm situation, and it kind of worked out. But I remember when this show was launched and I was like, why am I not doing this? Like, this seems like it's right up my alley. And season 2, I guess I manifested it because season 2, they were like, hey girl, want to do this? And I was like,
great.
okay. So that's kind of, in the simple way, that's kind of how it came to be. I mean,
so cool.
we had to sign NDAs.
Right.
And like, so I couldn't talk about it for a while. It was really hard because I was so excited, especially, I think as us in media or entertainment, whatever, we have to take advantage of these sports networks. Hello. We live in such a sports region.
Literally, it's a religion here.
Exactly. So I'm like, why am I not working on Nesson or like heck the news? No offense, news, but like I could be working on New England Sports Network.
The news can take offense.
Keep
We don't
that
care.
in.
Right?
Heck you guys.
Heck you guys.
Or like ESPN. Like those companies are so cool to me. So it was really, really rewarding to get that offer.
And all of this, all of this stuff collectively together has landed you in some really cool positions. Let's talk a little bit about like where you've gotten yourself into, maybe some sidelines or locker rooms of some really cool teams.
So
Let's talk about
crazy.
that a little bit.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is these places, okay, I kind of hate the saying fake it till you make it, but like I've done it so many times that I don't think I can hate it. Like if you want to talk about the sidelines, the Massachusetts Pirates are like a small in-arena football team. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to be in the company, maybe to try and get on the sidelines. Let's see what I can do. So I started as a social media intern, and this is a crazy story, at my social media like interview, the boss of the owner of the company walks in and he goes, oh my God, I'm freaking out to the woman who was interviewing me. And she's like, what's the problem? And he's like, I need somebody to do live sideline reporting for this team.
What?
I said, hi.
That is insane.
I was like,
crazy.
hi, you can hire another social media intern if you'd like, and I will do it. He said, have you done sidelines? I said, no. And he said, can you do it? I said, yes. And so I learned what I needed to learn, and I threw myself in the fire.
Hell yeah.
And I was so
I love
on
that.
Nesson live. It was the
Those
most
are
bizarre
stories
thing.
they make
That
movies
is
about.
so cool.
That's sweet.
But
I love that.
I manifested that.
100%
There's
you
no
did.
way that just came out of
We
thin
got
air.
to practice this more. You know what? I'm manifesting it right now. I'm going to win the lottery.
That's not, I don't
No,
think-
it's not.
No.
Okay.
Okay,
Ruined
but
it.
you got to play the lottery to win. Do you play the lottery?
No, I've never played.
Okay,
That's
well.
a lie. I play every once in a while.
Okay.
I only play when it's over like 300 million. When it's actually worth my time.
Life-changing money, you know?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because what am I going to do
Fair
with
enough.
10 million?
Yeah,
Seriously.
God forbid.
Well, did you know that you have a better chance of having a vending machine land on you than winning the lottery? It's not impossible, but
if that was going to happen, it would probably happen at MGM Springfield because I do their commercials. And when we're done, I hit the vending machine hard before I go to my room.
Making
That's
vending
the
machines.
only time I've ever used, only vending machine I've used in the last 10 years. It's the
Making
one at
vending
MGM.
machines
So
debit card accessible.
imagine that. Let's not manifest that. Social media influencer dies after rocking.
yeah, we don't need that.
Don't say that.
It's not my fault.
Okay, fine. I went too far.
Too far.
Our comedy.
So good.
So meet Boston, then you get this sideline that
Yeah.
literally the owner walks in and says, "I'm looking for the perfect candidate. You wouldn't happen to be the person." And you're like, "Yes."
It was so bizarre.
art
So
thou?
long story short, I just, it was kind of hard to do. I'll be honest. I was like, oh, I can do this. No, I like really had to get my act together.
Yeah.
Because I know nothing about football, especially in
Nailed it.
arena football. I don't know a
It's a
thing.
smidge different.
What's a field goal? Like, I'm not even joking. It's embarrassing to say, actually, because I've done so much in sports that you're probably thinking, how have you done this much? But like, I had to learn so much, and like there would be days where my equipment wouldn't work, and like that's not good. So already I'm thinking about a million things, and like I can't hear what they're saying in the broadcast booth.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like, I have to rely on someone pointing at me, and like I'm waiting to go do the sidelines, but I can't see what's happening going on in the game. So someone's like, hey, this person just like got a touchdown, doesn't tell me anything about the play, and they're like, all right, go and talk to the player. I'm like, what position is he even? Like, it's like ridiculous.
It is harder too because arena football, it's smaller.
So much
It's
smaller.
And technically, since it's an arena, there's like padded walls. It's like
Oh, it's
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
weird.
hockey football.
It's so weird.
So like it's like you're looking. It's like, the hell just happened?
No, seriously. And I mean, I made it through, and the season, eventually they ended up like, the season ended up not being fully broadcasted the whole way through because the equipment just kept breaking. So they were like, I don't think we can do this anymore. But man, did it teach me so much in so little time. And I feel like that was such a, in my book, on my standards, such a failure because of how like awful I did in a way, but like I learned so much, and it was something I needed. Like I needed that humbling experience to be like, all right, now I can do this. Like maybe I need to take a class, or maybe I need to go to school, or maybe I need to spend an extra 3 hours on YouTube and watch like another video of a girl doing it, you know? And I remember too, there was a guy on one of the sports networks, we'll say, who gave me a really hard time about the way that I did it. And I remember going and watching another broadcast of the same station, and everything he told me not to do, the girl on the TV did it. And I'm like, are you just like trying to like frazzle me?
I'll get his name after. I'll take care of this.
It was,
I'll slide in someone's comment.
It was fine. I
We
just was
coming
like,
for
what?
your ass. Let me tell you something, bruh.
I'm just like, listen, I get it. I love constructive criticism. Don't get it twisted. But I'm here like, are we taking it this seriously for a reason?
Yeah, there is a
That's
little
the
bit
interesting thing about this particular industry, though. Constructive criticism should only come from people who are signing your paycheck.
And he definitely was not.
Exactly, because we're so hyper competitive that a lot of the constructive criticism is often jealousy or fear, especially if it's a guy. My inclination tells me he was probably a little bit older.
Yeah.
So my inclination is saying, here comes a young buck that's got a lot of talent. Let me make sure I shoot her down so that I don't lose my position.
Terrible.
Because it's a very shaky ground to be in this type of industry. You know, it's like no matter how long you've been there, it does not guarantee you're there the next day.
Yeah.
So,
and that's one thing I've learned. It's like people love to push your buttons. They love to see if you can handle it. And it's like at this point I'm unfazed because I have to be. But in that moment I was like kind of freaking out because I'm like, already I'm thinking about every move I'm making and every question I'm asking and how I'm asking it, and I'm an overthinker like Ian, and here I am like, oh my god, and now this guy's giving me crap. Like, am I really that awful?
I feel like that's so old school too. Like that's that old school mentality. They're like, oh yeah, I gotta put this person through the ringer. Where he's right.
hyper competitive.
Unless you're unless you're paying for something or paying for me, constructive criticism is not okay. Or just everyone's got a plate at the table. There's plenty to go around.
Yeah.
Everyone gets to eat. Why you got to be like that?
Yeah, it's so interesting. And I think it's funny that you're intimidated by a young person because you know so much. If you're so great at this, like there's a level, I think, of complacency that I've noticed in the older generation once they get to a certain position. They like think that they're safe and they think that everything's great. And then when someone comes in and they're like, I just graduated school, I have all this new knowledge and I can do this and I'm motivated. They don't have that hunger anymore. And so, or they get insecure about where they are and they're like, oh, this girl has a ton, or this guy or whoever has a lot of potential. And like, here I am in my sad job. Like that could also be it. So it's been a lot of just like, it's not my problem that you have an issue. Like, and like I said, if they're going to give you an issue, well, redirection. Like there are other places that will take me and will train me and will make me good or make me awesome. And then they'll get the street cred later. Like that is, and that's my radio station that I work for is, I mean, that's what they did for me. Like a lot of people advocated for me to be there because they saw my potential. And so, you know, whatever I do in the future, they'll always be able to have that. And people will want to work there. Like, because of the people that work there. And that's not just speaking on me. That's, you know, everybody at the company who's awesome. So
I bet it feels really good to have that like peace in your heart, chest, back, wherever, like, to know that those people had your back. It makes it a little I mean, I'm sure you use it as motivation to be like, yeah, I'm going to prove them right. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, you know what? They believed in me. I got this.
Yeah. And that makes me think that there are other people that will believe in me too. Because if the one group of people are going to do it in the future, that will probably work into something. And actually, it's funny because with the sideline reporting, that gave another company hope in me to start writing for the Patriots, which I had no experience in writing either.
Yes.
Which has been insane also.
I owe you a small apology.
Oh.
When I read your submission form, you wrote the Patriots suck. And I took that as in, we are about to have a non-Patriots fan on here.
Oh, no, that's not the issue.
That's why I'm apologizing.
Okay.
Yeah. Como?
No, Gianna, I love you, but I'm not going to say that I hate Tom Brady. Like, that was bold.
I don't even.
That was bold. Yeah. And I love Gianna, but that was crazy.
Like, so my apologies. When I read that, I was like, wow, I guess I got to put that in the intro. We got beef all of a sudden. so once I thought about it more, I had to take it out and redo that part. And I was like, okay, I got it.
I think kind of what a small testament, just to backtrack just a few steps, is the individuals who are complacent and comfortable in their roles. I think the thing with those older generation, and there's nothing wrong with it, is the same problem that we will probably have in 30 years for ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, 20 years for us, but 30 years for you. Is that these individuals grew up in, let's just say specifically America, grew up in an America where the American dream was, is if you work hard, you go to college, you get this job, you stay at that job, you don't have to worry because that's the American dream. And our American dream is not that. Our American dream is no matter how hard you work, you're going to continue to have to work that hard. So they get nervous because they saw how the tidal wave has kind of come over what was once promised to them. And when there's someone young and eager and they're like, I don't know how technology works. I'm not as quick. I'm not as witty. I'm not in touch with social media. Players don't want to talk to me as much. They're very fearful. So naturally, the only thing that they can do is like any tiger in a cage, just start swiping to protect themselves because they're cornered. So I have empathy and I understand, but at the same time, you know, a lot of us in our generation, we're not looking to cut your head off.
No.
We're actually looking for help and advice. We would rather work alongside you than take your position. Like, and I think that's kind of the difficulty. And this kind of goes to a little bit about like the ban and the social media. Like that generation does not respect at all what I'm doing. No one gets it. And there's a lot of people that are in my age who also believed hard in the American dream. And they're still like, okay, you don't get to dance. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Look, like, it's not hard labor. I'm not saving lives. I'm not doing anything that's like incredibly taxing, but I'm also constantly at risk. 24/7, my entire life is at risk. My car, my insurances, my wife's lifestyle, my lifestyle, you know, our apartment, everything that we have, everything that my family relies on is at risk the minute any of this goes away. So like there is still a lot of stress involved and it is a 24/7 job. Yeah. And I think that, again, that generation just doesn't get it. So that's why there's the wherewithal and the effort that you're doing to push through and show up and do all of those things that they just don't get and they're nervous and jealous of.
That's so beautifully said because like, I totally agree. And also I'm not like totally ignoring the other side. Like I understand there's an other side. I just wish that, and this probably happens, like you said, with every generation, but I wish the older generation was more open-minded with our side because I get it. Gen Z has a ton of bad rep, like fine, fair. There are people that do stupid stuff all the time. We probably deserved it. But like, then it ruins it for people like me, I guess, because then you get in front of those people and they're like, oh, you're one of them. But at the same time, it also puts you in a really great situation if you're like me, because you're going to work harder than the next person. You're going to be more motivated than the next person. And they don't expect that from you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's like you kind of already have an upper hand without even trying to have an upper hand.
I love that.
Right? Kind of fun.
Preaches God.
So, okay, let's backtrack here.
Did we make it all through yet?
You're an actress. You're a model. You're a radio host. Sideline reporter. You also are on Nessun as a show. Did I do the Miss America thing, a pageant
Nope,
thing?
you're getting there.
Okay, so pageant thing.
You have a great memory.
You also have a degree in Homeland Security.
Yes.
You're also in philanthropy, and you're working with people with chronic illnesses and diseases. I don't know if I'm going to have enough fingers to get through all of
Keep
this.
trying.
I mean, this is
Borrow my hand.
This is unbelievable. And you're worried that you're like, I don't know if I'm doing it yet. Like, hello, you're doing a lot more than I could ever do. That's for damn sure.
I'm doing a lot. Oh, and I think also, to go back on the social media thing a little bit, I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without social media.
And
there is such a bad rep with social media, but if you use the tools wisely to network, it, like you built an entire career off of it. Like, you can do so much. And I just wish, like, there are other people that look at me and they're like, oh, you're so lucky. Like, what you do is so easy. And it's like, if you took advantage of this phone and your Instagram and like actually put something to work there, you could literally change your life. And I don't know. It's so interesting because we go to college and we do these things, and it's like, I made my entire career from a small box.
And for most people, these are free. Most people, even in their 30s, are still on their parents' phone plan, and they're still taking care of it for them.
Right?
So,
Fun fact, tax write-off, just saying.
Tax
If you make any money.
I like where your head's at.
All right. Miss New Hampshire. Let's get into some
time.
New England.
I'm so excited. My bread and butter.
This is the So New England segment. Still workshopping that. Vin absolutely hates that I say that.
Oh.
It's like, but I don't know what I would call Vin for me, because he's like my marketing and my PR and my manager and my agent and my producer and my editor. He does like everything.
He's
Literally.
the guy.
I am you.
Yeah.
So he's the guy.
He is me. So
I'm literally
he's like,
right here.
I know, but you're my best friend. You created this. He just keeps it in check.
All right, you fixed it.
That's a good title, best friend. Hello.
You fixed it.
Literally.
Nope. You fixed it.
We're like Kevin Hart and The Rock. And he's the guy that's like, everyone's like, who the hell's recording Kevin on The Rock?
Has to deal with your bullshit.
That's Jack Black.
What a fun comparison. That's crazy.
God damn it, Dwayne, get on my comment section.
I was mad, but you fixed it.
Anyway, so I was thinking about what I was going to ask you, and as we kind of went through this, I think I came up with one. Now, honestly, I'm going into this blind because I'm not going to know who you're talking about, but I would like you to tell me who you think has represented New England the best in the Miss America pageant.
Oh, man, in the Miss America.
And if you're afraid to name drop,
pageant.
you can just say the state.
Wow. That's a really hard choice.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, you couldn't even get that out of your mouth.
Ain't none from Connecticut. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
I'm sure. Miss Connecticut's probably a very nice lady.
I'm sure she's
a
fabulous.
nice lady.
I've never met her. I mean,
That's what I came up with.
I guess-
Can we answer that, or
I don't know if I'm biased though.
you can be biased? This is your podcast.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
Miss New Hampshire 2025. I mean, that's fine.
I mean, honestly, yeah, kind of, because she, I mean, not to, I guess, totally just blow the question off. like, yes, because I look at the other states and I think that they're really great people, but I don't think they represent New England. I think they just represent like amazing things, which is great. Everybody represents amazing things in the program. If you go to Miss America, you've absolutely deserved it at some level,
Right.
So, but I think Miss New Hampshire is so like boots on the ground. Our program is actually really good compared to what is in the state. Like, some people just throw up a little backdrop and like call it a pageant, where Miss New Hampshire is like a whole production. So I just think the level of like community outreach and care that goes to New Hampshire. And I also just think, New Hampshire is a little different, I think, than the rest of New England, where we still have care for each other. Like in the 603, like live free or die, I just lick the mic. Totally lick the mic. Live free or die.
That's right. Can we are you paying attention at all? That was the perfect time to drop the goddamn sound.
Dang.
Don't you do it now.
It's too late.
Sick bastard.
That's crazy.
Timestamp this. We're going to have to cut it out. I just ruined her good rant.
It's all good. I just,
The 603, live for your die. She went,
bleh.
and you could have.
Trying to fix your merch, okay?
Oh, my God.
Tea.
Sorry, continue.
It's okay. I mean, anybody can have a talent. Anybody can have a community service initiative. But I think that what, makes somebody represent New England is what you do and kind of like give back to them. And she's done a lot of that. And she's also made a pageant for people with learning disabilities and like mental disabilities, essentially, so that they can compete against like their peers
wonderful.
and have a sense of accomplishment too. So it's like, yeah, she's doing a lot of New Hampshire, but yeah, it like goes beyond. And I think everything she does is going to affect everyone, New England, the Granite State, like the whole nine. So I'm obviously biased and an advocate. I also know Miss New Hampshire really well.
That's okay.
Be biased, be an advocate.
But she's really cool. And I think that she represents us great. So
Awesome.
You're the only other state that has the 3, was it area code?
Is it
Only one
860?
besides us.
What do you mean?
401. 860, that's Connecticut, you jerk.
I know, but
860, 203, that's Connecticut.
what are you saying right now?
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. This is
Am I missing this?
So cut it out.
Yeah, but what are you saying?
401 is Rhode Island's area code.
Right.
New Hampshire is the only other state that has one area code for the whole state,
Right.
603.
Oh, one area code for the whole state. I missed that part.
I'm not in radio. I don't know how to talk to myself, damn it.
I was misunderstanding.
there
Cut
is
that
a
part.
debate though that we should add another, because we're running out of 603s.
I bet.
So they're like, do we add another one? And people are like, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
But then some people are like, who cares? So I don't know. Is it even that important?
Well, once you get
like
rid
the
of all those
603.
landlines,
That's the thing. Like, why do we have those?
Yeah.
So the security systems don't need them
Dial-up
anymore.
internet, just in case.
Seriously. It's like wild.
Okay.
Okay, get on with it.
What is your favorite New England-based film? It could be like influenced by Boston or whatever, but there's like, a lot of movies that have come from this area. Most of them are Boston-based, but let's just say New England as a whole.
Okay.
So like you have The Departed, Good Will
Right.
Hunting, The Town.
The Town was my first thought.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a basic answer.
No,
I can
that's
be
not.
You
basic.
can,
No, I
you
love
can
that.
be basic. I
I
don't know.
love that.
Be basic.
I'm
You're-
very
Be
basic.
you.
All right. So The Town.
I'm going to say The Town. It's kind of a badass
It
movie.
is.
It is a
It's an awesome
badass movie.
Very
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, you got to think that one clip where Ben Affleck walks in the house and Jeremy Renner and he's like, "Listen, we're gonna do some shit. We're gonna beat some people up." I don't know whatever he says, but
Yeah.
that's still
An iconic
moment in film.
Yeah. I mean, duh.
It's amazing.
I actually use often when I do auditions, the monologue that I have memorized is from The Town when Ben Affleck is telling the woman about his mom. Next question.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us what your favorite New England food is to eat? We have a lot of very New England specific foods. So what would be your favorite? Lobster, chowder?
I mean, I love a lobster roll. I love clam chowder, basic. I love seafood,
Seafood. Okay.
I do.
New England seafood.
Yeah.
We could put a blanket on it.
but I don't want it fried.
Oh, okay.
It makes
You
me feel
telling
like
me
crap.
that you like cold lobster rolls?
No, I mean, I'm okay with it, but it's not my first choice.
So you do a hot lobster roll?
I mean, sure, why not?
Okay.
I'll do. I mean,
You're
I'll
just,
do
you just
either.
want you just want a lobster.
I just
You don't want to do the roll.
I just want the lobster. I mean, I'll do the roll, but I'm gluten free now. It's like a whole thing, and it's
It's
like,
a whole thing.
It is the most frustrating thing because I want to like eat the good food, and
Right.
I it makes me sick. So I like when I have a lobster roll.
Vin's wife is like severely.
Oh, we need a
Allergic
whole
to gluten,
podcast
so-
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you
those
there.
stories.
I mean, so I will have it. Mayo makes me kind of sick now, but I do love a lobster roll with mayo. Or I think it depends on the mood. Like if it's night, I think I want it like hotter because
Yeah.
it's probably
Nice and
colder
warm.
out.
Best thing Connecticut's ever done.
Versus
Hot lobster rolls.
Yeah, versus during the day, maybe I'll have it cold because it's more refreshing.
Love that.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
can you rank New England states in order?
Ooh.
Your favorite to least favorite. Fun fact: New Hampshire is my favorite state.
New
I've told you
Hampshire's
this
a good
before,
one. I mean, I guess I have to say New Hampshire because I love the chill vibes of New Hampshire as number one. I spend too much time in Mass for it not to be my number two.
Gotcha.
So
Respect
that's
it.
gotta be it. But
I
then
feel like
after
that's
that,
the usual one too.
Yeah.
They get the most ranked.
I feel like Vermont is 3 because Vermont's chill. They have maple syrup and they have a good music festival, right?
Yep.
I should know this. Yeah. So I guess I'll
You're
say
in
Vermont.
radio, so you tell us.
Fair enough. And then after that, I feel like Connecticut is a whole lot of highway.
Yep. Agreed.
So I don't know about that, but I've also haven't really spent a lot of time. I haven't spent a lot of time in Rhode Island, although I do love Newport. Basic again.
Damn it! It's always Newport.
That's like the 5th
Why
episode
is
in
it
a row
always
where
Newport?
That's
like
quite
saying-
literally the verbatim that people say. I haven't spent a lot of time in Rhode Island, but I've been to Newport verbatim.
Newport is our Boston. You ever think about that? Newport is our Boston.
No.
And
Just think about it. Boston is so small, and Massachusetts is huge.
I won't do it.
Newport is literally like one
Newport
cobblestone.
smells.
And Portsmouth, New Hampshire, is our Newport.
Literally.
So,
Does it smell there?
And I love Portsmouth.
How about Newburyport?
I love Newburyport.
Beautiful. That's
Gorgeous.
like Watch Hill and Westerly, where we're from. Shout out T Swift.
Yep.
Okay, T.
Please tell your boyfriend to stop cheating with the refs.
Oh yeah, for real. Are you gonna go to the wedding that's probably coming up with all the renovations she's doing to her house?
I don't know.
You gonna crash?
She's been renovating that house since the day she bought it.
Oh, okay.
day she got
So
it.
this
Yeah.
isn't new.
Yeah.
I was told it was new information. I should trust I should not trust my source.
If you ever want information on Westerly and Taylor Swift, you can come to us because
Okay.
that's where we're from and we got the tea.
You got the tea. I love that.
Yep. We know
I
her
love
dad
tea.
We do.
personally.
Community service officers right here. Because being a
beautiful.
cop was my first love.
Yep.
I wanted to be a cop because I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, and I had no guidance in life. I was like, well, I'm a goody two shoes, so I'll be a cop.
Yep,
And
been
then I
there.
was like, oh my God, I can't. Blood makes me want to pass out, so I
too.
definitely can't be a cop.
And that's why I didn't go into Homeland Security.
I was going to ask you, I went to school for criminal justice, and that's technically what my degree is, but I was
Yep.
going to ask you, what was your goal with Homeland?
I wanted to work for the FBI. I wanted to do at first I wanted to do forensics, and then I saw like the fluids, and I was like, never mind. So then I said,
Oh, see, I love that shit.
like, really? See,
love
I want to die.
Yeah.
I
I
took a
spent-
class
Hey,
and I was like,
Dexter.
Yeah, what the hell?
I spent way too much time in college watching Criminal Minds, and I was
Oh,
like,
me too.
I'm going to be that. And I never realized that is very hard and very unlikely and
not real.
Yeah,
it's
no,
not even
yeah,
close
nope.
to the truth. And
I
I,
just
had
wanna
that rude awakening as
call
well.
Penelope and be like, hey, boo. All right, I'm done.
Hey girl, no, totally.
Yeah.
I loved Spencer Reed, so I totally get it.
Shamar Moore.
Loved the nerd. Story of
He's
my
the
life.
best.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So we have New Hampshire,
Yes. Yep.
Massachusetts.
Yes.
You haven't spent a lot of time in Rhode Island, so
I'm gonna say I guess I'm gonna say Vermont
Yep,
because
you
I
said
think
Vermont.
I've spent the most time there next.
Because of their maple syrup.
yep.
because of the maple
Literally
syrup
the
as well.
I love maple syrup so much.
They have some great mountains too. I'm not a skier, but hey, I'll sit in a hot tub
Oh, there you
and
go.
Hey.
have a beverage.
Gang, gang.
perhaps.
Happy medium.
And then I guess I'll have to say Rhode Island next because of Newport, and Connecticut has to be my last one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sorry, Connecticut.
What, you forgot Maine.
Oh, wait, scratch everything.
Scratch everything.
Because Maine should be at like number 2, maybe,
Ooh.
because I love the beach. But there's not much to do in Maine.
What is happening? This is the third week in a row people have talked about the beach in Maine.
How did I forget about
We are
Maine?
the ocean state.
I know, but it's so much closer to New Hampshire.
Hampton Beach.
Ugh, barf Hampton Beach. Nobody actually enjoys Hampton Beach for the beach.
I love Hampton Beach.
Yeah, but for the beach or for the fun stuff like the bars and the shops and the
I like
food?
going for the video games, and they give me really cool henna tattoos. So.
Thank you. Yes, so you don't go for the actual sand and the water. You go.
I don't know if I've ever actually been in the water at Hampton Beach.
Thank you very much. That is my.
He literally goes
that
there
is my
for the
point.
henna tattoos.
Yeah.
There used to be a water park there too, but that's gone.
And that's
Sad.
something. Just sits there like an eyesore now. I think they're getting rid of it, perhaps. I don't know.
So 2. Maine's 2.
All right, so we might have to back this whole thing
Okay.
up. So,
So
New
New
Hampshire is
Hampshire?
1.
603. Let's do Maine. Then
number
let's
2.
do Massachusetts.
Okay.
And then we'll do Rhode Island, Connecticut.
Vermont, Connecticut.
Oh, sorry. Okay, 603. Maine. We're going to do Massachusetts, Vermont, Rhode Island, Connecticut.
Got it.
Oh, wow. That took way too many tries.
Let's make this even more complicated.
Okay.
If you could add another state, city, country, whatever you want to New England, what would it be?
To New England. I feel like Delaware is all by itself. Do you think we could like scoot it up?
Have you spent any time in Delaware? That might be respectfully, that might be the worst edition yet.
Well, it is, but I feel like it needs some guidance. So maybe if we just like took it under our wing. No.
If we took Delaware and Rhode Island and put it together, we still would be the smallest state of the 6. That's the 2 states together.
I think you're
so
correct.
should I take
Because
that
Delaware
back?
is actually technically the smallest state, even though they give the title to Rhode Island.
We're the smallest state in the union.
Right.
That's why.
I see. Okay, so then I guess I'd have to take that back.
No, you don't have to. We can,
No, it's your
we
list.
can
Should
bring
we add
Delaware.
Maybe
if
we
want.
should add Canada.
Wow.
Whoa. Oh, hit that
Well-
eagle. Hit the eagle. Yeah, baby. Give us Canada.
Sure.
Alberta,
I don't
Canada
hate
looks.
that.
No,
We're
what?
close enough. I mean, might as well.
Might as well.
Well, there are some snobby people in Canada when you don't speak French.
Literally, most of Rhode Island is snobby.
Crimea
so-
River.
I'm not
I'm
worried about
French
Canada.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna be fine.
Amen
I
to
love
that.
French. I'm just saying. If
No,
you
I
don't know
know.
French. Je m'appelle G. Comment t'appelles-tu?
Oh,
Hey.
épaules, genoux, et pieds. That's head, shoulders, knees, and toes in French. It's the only thing I
Wow.
learned before I got kicked out of French class.
I am screwed
Also
if we
got
get
kicked out of
Canada.
Spanish.
Can you stop telling people you got kicked out?
What
I
did you
get kicked
do?
out.
You would go in late as shit and they'd be like, you're not supposed to be late. You need to go to the principal's office. And then you'd walk around the halls.
It's okay.
I was kicked out, no?
I got kicked
But-
out of Spanish class as well at one point. Yeah.
They kicked me out of Spanish and put me in reading. and then
We love
because
reading.
Yeah, that
because I didn't actually need to learn how to read, I would read all the books to the kids in reading.
Oh.
My teacher would just sit there and be like, yeah, go ahead, read to them. And I'm
And
like,
that-
all of my friends, I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to read to you today.
And that is how book talk started.
Exactly.
Let's go.
We got the
That was
sounder.
good. That was awesome.
Wow.
Anyway.
All right. Okay.
So-
Final question.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Did we solidify Delaware?
No, I think we should take Canada.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
she's
okay.
Canada.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's
cool.
fine.
I'm cool with that.
All right. Now,
Damn, we're big as
in
fuck now.
order, rank your New England sports teams.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay, this is tricky because now I feel like I'm like buddy with the Patriots. So I feel like I have to take my teams wisely here. I'm gonna choose. Just do this. Okay. Is it by preference or is it actually by like how good you think they are, or does it not matter?
No, it's more about preference.
Yeah, preference.
I do like the Celtics, but I feel like I actually know the Patriots players now.
Okay.
Assuming they stay on the team. We'll see what the future holds.
Respectfully, hopefully not all of them, but is
Yes, agreed. But
that too hot of a take?
Oh,
It's not- they're probably really nice people.
are
I'm
we
just
going to
saying
get
we
into
need better
sports
people.
talk?
Yeah. Oh my god.
How much?
Be here for hours.
No, our bedtime is right around the corner. We need to go to bed.
Both of you guys are due for bed any minute.
That's actually a great point. So because I've been to Gillette so many times, I think I have to say the Patriots.
Yep, number
and
one for me, always.
I've had some fun times with them. And then I guess number 2 is the Celtics because they're killing it. I went to the parade. That was pretty rad. It was hot, but it was pretty fun. And of course, my jacket.
Teams.
Here's the thing. I feel like I only know the top 4. Like,
that's okay.
well,
That's all right.
so
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to have to say Patriots, Celtics. And then I have to say the Bruins, even though I feel like they're not having a fun time right now. And then
None of us are on
obviously,
that ride. We want
yeah.
off now.
Yeah.
yeah, and then the Red Sox are also not. So it's
No,
like, what are
and
we?
they're not spending any. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into it.
No, I know.
It's like that picture
I know.
with the dragons and we're all the silly looking dragon because none of the teams are doing well. Well, I mean, Celtics are doing well.
I don't know that.
Not
picture.
comparable. I'll show you.
Yeah.
Not comparable to last year though.
Yeah,
Someone was.
I don't know
duking
about their
around.
stats, but I mean, at least they're winning, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
They absolutely crushed the Warriors a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's true. I went to a game and they were like a couple weeks ago. They played the Pelicans of all teams, and they were like neck and neck. And I was like, "What is
happening?
this game?" I was okay. It's probably my fault.
They'll
My first
turn up come
Celtics game.
playoffs time.
Like, yeah, I mean, seriously. But it's like, and then I look at the whole Mike Vrabel thing, and I'm like, do we have like? I am so excited. Don't get it twisted.
Yes.
But are we putting a lot of false hope into something that's just gonna do the same thing? And maybe not the same thing, but like similar, where it's like we're gonna have to build, and then like Robert Kraft's gonna be like, oh, we gotta switch it up again. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. I think that they're probably. I think this is something that's going to get like they're going to ride this out.
Yeah.
I think Vrabel is a good guy to have in here. I don't know if he is the guy.
Yep.
But I think he might be the guy that's going to bridge the gap with Drake May and then get us to the next level where we're competing again.
I agree.
I don't know how I feel about Josh McDaniels coming back for a third time, but
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
I think Kraft wanted Vrabel last year, but out of respect to Mayo, wanted to give him a shot to let him put something on his resume.
And give him an opportunity.
That's
give him the
crazy.
opportunity.
But why not just leave him as the defensive coordinator?
Because I think there was too much talk about it, and he wanted to be the good guy because so many people do like look at Jerry Jones, for example. Schmuck. No one likes him. Cowboys fans hate him now. He's not doing anything good with the organization. Blah, blah, blah. Kraft has always been a people pleaser. He made that documentary specifically to talk bad about Bill.
That was wild.
Right?
Wild.
So I think he just did that to cover his butt. Hey, I'll give him a shot. Out of respect, he's been in the organization for a long time. But if he doesn't do well, and Vrabel was waiting. Because why did Vrabel not take a head coaching job? He was hands down, without question, the best candidate at that time.
For any open position.
And he made the Titans look so good.
Yeah. And he was in the Seaport interviewing for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
They started at like 9 a.m. and he left at like 5. Mm-hmm. And does it really, take that long to do something like that?
No.
Yeah. Not when you're Mike
Vrabel. Having a good time. And one last question about food, since you have so much experience with Dirty Water Media and with Meet Boston. Mm-hmm. If you are going to give someone maybe the top 3 recommendations in Boston for eating food.
In Boston. What's funny is the majority...
Unless there's something better elsewhere.
Like elsewhere?
Yeah, if you have a recommendation in New Hampshire or...
Okay. I mean, the majority of the places we've done, believe it or not, have been on the Cape.
Oh, okay.
Because the Cape is obviously poppin' in the summer.
Yep.
We've spent a lot of time on the Cape. I mean, I haven't been to a lot of Boston spots. A lot of other girls have been.
Okay.
So if I could branch to the Cape.
Yeah, anywhere in New England. We won't even say Boston.
I really actually like the Pilot House in Sandwich.
Okay.
Good vibes. Sunset is beautiful. I feel like if you're going to think of a New England spot, you go there because the food is good and you can get a good mudslide in the summer. There's live music and you get a beautiful view of the sunset. But then if you're in Falmouth, the Raw Bar, hello, good vibes always. If you're down to party, if you're not an Aho, well, I guess you could party at an Aho too, but an Aho has really good Mexican food.
Ooh, okay.
Have you guys been to an Aho?
No.
Oh, love. There's a huge tree in the middle of the restaurant that's just growing out of the ground. Cool. It's good vibes.
I feel like I have been because my wife has
Yes.
My wife has a family home in Falmouth, and there's a Mexican place that's on the main road there, and I think that's an Aho. And the margaritas are the size of your head.
But that one's not as good. This might be a hot take, but that one's not as good as the one in Hyannis.
Okay,
maybe it's because of the vibe. It's probably the same food. Let's be honest, it's the same place,
right?
But the vibe in Hyannis is way better.
Yeah, Hyannis is I feel like the spot. Yeah. If you're not going all the way down to why am I drawing a blank right now?
P-Town?
If you're not going all the way down to P-Town, Hyannis is the halfway point. If you want to be on the Cape. If you gotta go down the Cape, you got to go to Hyannis or you go to P-Town.
I've never been to P-Town. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, really? Oh, it's a lot of fun.
I would love to go.
I went there last winter because I was doing a little ad for them, and they had the Santa run, which everyone was basically in Speedos, and the Speedos all had Santas, and everyone was dressed as Santas with overalls and Speedos and running down the road. It was hilarious.
In the freezing cold?
In the freezing cold.
Wow, that's
They do
wild.
5K. It's a lot of fun. They have
crazy.
one of those lobster trap trees and all that stuff. Really cool.
Cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to add it to my
Visit
list.
Cape Cod MA, I believe, is how they have it on their Instagram.
Very good.
Sophie, this has been amazing.
This has been fun.
Been so much fun to chat with. There is just so much to know about you, and I feel like we honestly only scratched the surface. So, if people wanted to find you online or listen to you on the radio or donate to you, where can everybody get a hold of you?
All of my information, if you want to find it in one place, go to my Instagram. It's at Sophie Sargent, and then just click on my link tree. And if you're curious about anything else that I do, you will find it in that one spot. Whether that's helping for the Miss New Hampshire stuff or for radio, if you're in New Hampshire or in Boston, you'll get 95.7. So that is where you'll catch me from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then if you're driving through New Hampshire at night, you'll hear me on 96.5. And if you're in Keene, you'll hear me on 98.7, which is I don't think anyone really goes to Keene unless you go to unless you're going to Keene State, the college, or you live in Keene. But those are my 3 stations. Or Nesson.
Yes.
Sometimes you can catch me on Nessun on Saturday mornings, depending on the Saturday. I just had my first episode, which I was the season opener for Meet Boston, which was crazy.
Oh, that's so awesome.
It was really exciting.
Congrats.
Thank you. So, so sometimes on Nessun, which I'll post again, all on my Instagram, Sophie Sargent. Boom.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah,
It's been fun.
of course. All right, folks, that will wrap up episode 31 of the So New England podcast. And as always, folks, please remember that life's better in New England.